My girl, don't lie to me. Tell me where did you sleep last night? In the pines, where the sun don't ever shine. I will shiver the whole night through. My girl, where will you go? I'm going where the cold wind blows. In the pines, where the sun don't ever shine. I will shiver the whole night through. My husband was a hard-working man, killed 1.5 miles from here. His head was found in a driving wheel, and his body hasn't ever been found. Why he sings that? Man, yo, do y'all know what that is? Do y'all know what song I just sang right there, yo? Do you? Do you know? That is like rock and roll royalty. You know what I'm saying? And if you're thinking about Kurt Cobain, damn, it's not 3 minutes yet. I think gotta wait for 3 minutes. You're a poo-poo head. Oh gosh, you're a poo-poo head, yo. Okay? If you think I just sang Kurt Cobain. I don't blame you, however, you know. But yeah. Anyway, welcome. I had a little I was having a little thing, earlier, and I had just gotten into this blues type mood, and I was just listening to a lot of Robert Johnson and Lead Belly songs and stuff, you know. And I was earlier like, like where I stay at, it's kind of like it's a shared house, but it's just that I have my own part. So I'm cut off from the main house where everybody be sharing everything at. You know what I'm saying? My shit is like got my own shit. So anyway, so I was hanging out in the main room, in the common room and stuff, because they people was like celebrating some kind of birthday or something. So, you know, I don't want to be antisocial, because the thing is that when you stay at my part, because I have my own, I don't have to share no bathroom or kitchen with nobody. Like, I got my own stuff. I'm cut off. So I don't really know what goes on in the main house. And even the way the driveway is, it's like I don't really see nobody. You know what I'm saying? But I'm cool with a few folks, here. And yeah, anyway. So one of the girls was like, I think she's like 20 or something, 22. I think 22. So I was humming a song by Robert Johnson, and be- I was singing it, because it's just been playing in my head over and over. And it's actually, I was singing the original version of this one freaking song that, you know, this AI slop, it's like AI slop music. You know what I'm saying? Like you see it on so many shorts. So, and that song is like this song called Me and the Devil or whatever. With the chick with the weird accent. Me and the devil walking side by side. All that shit, right? And they have that crazy piano, and they always put that epic. They always do some kind of movie or anime or something, you know, and all those crazy YouTube edits and shorts and all that shit. So anyway, you know, so I was singing. That's a song from Robert Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Chick was even, she pretty much singing the same shit word for word. So, yeah. So this girl, she's like, oh yeah, what kind of music is that? What kind of lyrics is that? I'm like, yo, relax. You know, I mean, it was just jokes and all of that stuff, but you know, she was like, oh man. I'm like, yo, that's Robert Johnson, man. You should know. Like, you say you like music and all that stuff, you know? He's like, nah, I don't need to know nothing about that. Da, 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 da. And I was just thinking to myself, like, damn, yo, this is crazy. It's like, this is literally like Delta blues, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like you could say the first type of music put on wax for real, you know, like the first type of music in the music industry coming from black folks, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, you know. And it's so weird how, you know, that same mentality of, you know, forget the old, you know, like, I don't know, man, black folks, man, should be crazy, you know. It's not meant to be no kind of nigger rant or whatever. And y'all always know when I talk about black folks, I talk about all of them. Because the attitudes are so fucking the same, man. You know, that whole, people don't, it's like black folks don't like the freaking preserve much at all. And again, I'm not only speaking about FBA. I'm just thinking about it in the sense of even with me and the culture that I'm from, you know, it's like nobody really speak like for like Nigerians and also Ghanaians and stuff. Like, you find many like like the generation after the boomers, like the, well, maybe the Xers still, but if you didn't grow up over there or like if you wasn't born over there or grew up over there or whatever, like, you, most people don't speak the language. Like, if you were born abroad, you're likely not going to ever speak the language. You understand me? Like, my family members, the Xers and older, all still speak the mother tongue. The millennials and younger, like me, for example, nada. I only, well, I could speak my mother tongue a little bit, and that's just shit that I taught myself just from hearing it my whole life, you know. So I could put a few sentences together, but it's even crazy because, like, nigga, you putting a few sentences together and you've been hearing this shit all your life. But the thing is that, you know, motherfuckers can get over on me because, you know, as black folks would do, you know, it's like, it's always a difference between the ones that are in the West or diaspora or were born there or grew up there versus the ones back on the continent. You know what I'm saying? There's always this thing where, oh yeah, you don't know nothing, you don't know this, you don't know the struggle, you don't know, you grew up privileged, nigga, privilege my ass, nigga. Fuck you mean, yo? Y'all ever lived in like apartment buildings where the toilet is outside? It's like in the hallway and you sharing it with like the whole floor? Nigga. This is crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, if you want to compare it, yes. I mean, if you compare it to any third world country, of course, we have better infrastructure and everything. Duh. But yeah, they always like to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I was younger. Used to get mocked. a lot, yo, about that shit. Oh yeah, you don't know, you don't know. Fuck y'all niggas. That's what I thought, but I couldn't say it, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't disrespect your elders. All of that dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't disrespect your elders. But anyway, my point again. No, none of us speak the mother tongue. You know, it's just like, and you know, you would always hear a lot of these, the boomer parents and the exer parents. They would say stuff like, well, you know, they never spoke it, they never needed it, you know, so we never bothered to teach them. And the thing is, it's even so crazy because even the tribe that I'm from in Nigeria, like, it's so bad with mine even specifically. I just thought of that. That the language don't even get taught to the younger ones who grow up there. They grow up learning English mostly, or Yoruba, I think. You have some, they'll be from my tribe, but they could speak another tribe's language. But English first, you know, and what they call pidgin, you know what I'm saying? All that Afro beats language that y'all hear on social media. It be motherfuckers that can speak just that. They only speak just that. They can't even speak their mother tongue. And you like, yo, how the fuck you grew up, you born there, grew up there. You ain't ever even left. You ain't even like migrate or anything. Like, you probably ain't even ever gonna leave there. And you don't even speak. Yeah, like, that shit is crazy. I just thought of that. You know? Shit is wild. However, that's not everybody, you know. But it's just that you find that more and more, you know. Like, it's actually not something that should even exist. You get what I'm saying? But it does, you know. So that's even something that goes on over there. And that's something I noticed even growing up, you know. Like, it's some motherfuckers that's over there, they can't even speak their languages, and they was born there. You know what I'm saying? So talk less of when you grew up, you know, in Europe and shit like me. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I don't know. I'm going on a side tangent a bit, but it kind of makes sense. It all ties in, you know. And yeah, it's kind of wild, man. You know, that black people just like to just forget and not preserve. I mean, we do preserve, of course, you know, culture and all of that stuff, but it's still this day-to-day attitude, this lack of reverence for, you know, what black people have done, you know. And because the thing that trips me out about it, why I'm mentioning it, is because, nigga, we was even learning about, I was not about lead belly, but Robert Johnson was even something we learned in high school. I remember by the time I was like, what, seventh? No, what am I talking about? How would y'all say? 11th grade. In 11th grade. I say seventh because over there would be seven. But anyway, like in US terms, 11th grade, right? In 11th grade, we even learned about Robert Johnson and that Sweet Home Chicago, because, you know, that Sweet Home Chicago was a song, the Blues Brothers and all that stuff. It was in the movies. And you know, um it was sampled. They sampled it from Robert Johnson, and, you know, was learning all of that. This is in Europe. This is in Austria, my nigga. You get what I'm saying? A German-speaking country. You know? So it's so weird. Though I even performed this shit in high school. You feel me? So it's just weird, you know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like, it's like, damn, man. And not like these aren't just anybody's, bro. Like, these are motherfuckers that literally birthed a whole music genre. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that that these white boys look up to, the rock stars, the Bon Jovis, the Nirvanas, the Eric Claptons, the BB Kings, the Chuck Berrys, Little Rick, everybody, yo, everybody that pulls weight in blues, jazz, rock, punk rock, even them fucking Green Day motherfuckers, man. CC Top, all the motherfuckers. They look up to Lead Belly and niggas like Robert Johnson because of what they was able to do with their guitars and shit and the music. It's just that Robert Johnson died early and shit. Nigga died at 27 and just had like 30 songs or something. You know what I'm saying? His shit was cut short, you know? But despite that, he's still such a major figure and such a major influence in that genre. You know what I'm saying? They credit them with being the first ones to really birth, you know, blues and all of that stuff. And, you know? And then here you have fucking the new generation and shit. They don't give a fuck. It's not even like they don't know. They don't even care. They don't even care to know. So you think to yourself, the only reason why this shit is even preserved or that you can research about it and even know about it is more, I don't know. Let me watch what I'm saying. You know, might, but hey, no, fuck that. It might be credited more to non-blacks than blacks, even though, because I don't really know the ins and outs about, like, say, for example, you know, the grave sites, you know, the families of these people, you know, what they may have fought for. Because I think these folks were born like in Mississippi or whatever. But anyway, you know, so it's just funny how. Mm, it's just funny how that shit gets discarded. And then when you think about it, you fast forward and you have that in hip hop, you know? You have that type of shit in hip hop, yo. Shit is crazy. You know, it's a young man's sport. Yeah, we get it and all that. But it's just, I mean, look at freaking breakdancing and all that stuff, you know? So, nah, man, it's just sad. It's just sad. But yeah, man, I was really just trying to get up here and just talk, you know, just shoot the shit and shit. You know what I mean? Looks like I got one person listening. That's always good, you know. Yeah, man. And a few more things I was going to touch on as well that I've just been thinking about. Um, you know, already on the topic of, you know, cultures and all of that stuff. You know, I was talking to with Zero the other day. I don't know if it was in Discord, but I know that we were talking about, or a couple things. Yeah, we were talking about, you know, Muslims and all of that stuff, and how, you know, there was, like, I think he has said something about, you know, their religion and all that stuff really kind of hinders them from there being any growth and all. You know what I'm saying? You know, that whole, it stops them from growing and shit. I was just thinking about something. That made me laughing, yo. Let's go, Zero. You know? But yeah, it kind of like stops them from growing. Zero, if you're in the chat, yo, if I don't want to paraphrase too much, but that whole thing about they, you know, their religion, bombing shit, and always, yeah, you know, the bitch gotta stay in the house, you know, that whole technology and growth, you know, it kind of, yeah, the technological growth is kind of stifled because of this hardcore want to stick to the days of Muhammad as, you know, religion. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect, you know, if you're Muslim and stuff. Yeah, I know it stands for peace and all of that, you know, it stands for peace. But, you know, history says otherwise, you know. But I get it, you know, the Christians ain't, you know, they ain't out of this. So They've killed millions. Even though I still need to look who did. Even though I don't care. Like I'm not Christian. I'm not Muslim. It's not like I give a fuck, but it's still interesting to know. It's a culture topic, you know. You dumb niggas out there that need to become read niggas. Yo, dumb niggas trying to start channels and start talking about, oh yeah, 13% of population, 50% of crime. All you niggas, you need to become reading niggas, you know. So these are topics that you can actually also discuss and think about. So you have a little bit of nuance in your fucking conversation. They are the same, bitch ass niggas. Anyway, you know, um, yeah, the technological growth. And I did mention that there is, I mean, if we think about algebra and all that stuff, like that comes from the Middle East, you know, mathematics and all of that stuff, you know. But you come to find out that they, I think it was around the seventh or eighth, in the year seventh to eighth century, you know, like they had like a golden era where they like, you know, had breakthroughs in science and shit and philosophy, all the stuff that you know about the white folks, all that shit that you know about Aristotle, right? You know, respect to them, of course. Yeah, you know, they had that shit too, and math, like I said, mathematics, sciences, and all, and technology and so on. But um and if I remember it right, I think that golden era may have also been the time where they were going on heavy expansions as well. So you know, so it seems like, I don't know. I'm speculating now because I just remembered that part about. I think it was also around the 7th to 8th century where motherfuckers was going on crusades and shit and expanding, you know, all in the name of Muhammad. But at the same time, it's like they also had that faction of, you know, advancing science and technology and so on. I mean, go look it up, man. You know, grok that shit. You ain't got to Google no more. So, and my thing was always like, it's so weird how it's likely if they had a golden era where people were, you know, scientifically more astute and more cultured and all that stuff. At some point, that shit got ran over, and you know who it got ran over by. You understand me? So I'm saying this not to fault Zero or go against what Zero is saying. What he's saying is true, you know. However, I guess I was adding that piece to it where it's like they did have a breakthrough shit. Like even the word algebra is an Arabic word. You understand me? It's credited to somebody. I don't think the person was called algebra, but it's named after somebody. You know what I'm saying? And that motherfucker ain't white. That's what what some of these white folks like to say, a sand negro, a sand nigga. You know what I'm saying? So we got to keep that in mind, you know. But I mean, you had scientific breakthroughs everywhere, you know, around the world and stuff. Like you have that, you know. I know, shout out to the Hotep and Probligities, you know, they always say, yeah, Egypt, you know what I'm saying? I was like that too, don't get me wrong. I was like that too, but I never could fully like grasp onto that full we did everything shit, just because I grew up in the place where I learned more about the histories of, you know, Europe and Middle East and Asia and America. You know what I'm saying? So everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So, and also sometimes with that whole tip shit, man, my family will look at me weird when I be talking that shit. They like, nigga, what? What? That was the worst. Anyway, so they were scientific and technological breakthroughs everywhere, right? And but however, I mean, if you go, if there's a whole branch of mathematics named after an Arab, I mean that is somewhat significant. You understand what I'm saying? Just like it would be for every other culture. So anyway, bottom line, they had a golden era. They were smart motherfuckers. They contributed to these fields that where we would deem somebody cultured and an expert if they were very astute in that field. You understand me? They contributed to those fields as well, but we just know them as bombing, 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 bitch, cook, bitch, barefoot, bitch, what? Shut up, make kids, kitchen. You know what I'm saying? All that misogyny. You know what I'm saying? And bombing in the name of Allah. So you have 17 virgins, you know. So I guess I'm saying that to say it's like, why does it always someone, and this might sound like a crazy reach, but I guess it kind of ties in, this ego tripping, man. It's this thing with motherfuckers and their ego. Cause one thing that that me and Zero had talked about also was that everything is built off of that shit. Like how many bitches I got, what I got, I'm stunting on you. Like I was saying, around that same time, the Arabs had their golden era. They was also expanding in the name of Allah and all of that stuff. They was doing some killings and conquering lands and shit. You know what I'm saying? They was expanding. How do you expand? Back in those days, especially. You feel me? So I wouldn't doubt it where it gets to a point where the super religious nigga killing in the name of Allah and stuff is like, yo, man, fuck these books and all this shit, man. Because the more you study, the more you become, enlightened, if you will, you start having less of a problem with, I don't know, I guess females being a little more educated. You know what I'm saying? Which I guess is a problem in itself. I don't know. Because we see where that leads to, right? You know what I'm saying? You see where that leads to, we'll go overboard. But see, that as well. The fact that you gotta niggas always want to put a bitch on. And it be educated niggas as well. I don't know, man. It's weird. It's like at some point, the Warren Allah Akbar yelling motherfucker is gonna be like, yo, fuck these books and all this reading shit. The reason why I say that is because has it changed? Has it ever changed? Look up any culture, yo, and see if you don't have a Pookie class or warrior class. And I'm not saying that every warrior was on some Pookie shit, but there's always some conflict between rebels and, you know what I'm saying, the ones that don't really value the education as much as others do. And in some cases for good reason, because all those educated motherfuckers start hoarding resources and all that shit, all that dynamic, man. But anyway, that ego shit, man, it's like whole nations have been built off of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Even when we talk about like this polygamy shit, you know what I'm saying? Do you really think that back in the pick any time in world history where a king is going to say, you know what, fuck this throne? I don't know, man. It's like, yo, I want the bitch to make, to stroke my ego because she make me feel good. And dog, am I tripping, yo? Am I tripping? I want to say so much stuff, but it's hard to come out. Pause. It's like it's just a whole bunch of ego tripping, man. Like, I'm gonna fuck your bitches. I'm gonna conquer you, slaughter you, and then fuck all your bitches, and then there's some. I have a new stock of kid. I mean, damn, yo, like what is wrong with humans, bro? Anyway, I don't want to go too far off the deep end with all this. What is wrong with humanity? But it's like you come to notice that, when you talk about this culture stuff and customs and 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 wars, and it always boils down to some petty ass ego shit, man. You know, and for some reason, it's always a bitch involved. You know, it's weird, man. I mean, I'm sure you're gonna ask yourself, how do I get from speaking about the golden era of Arabs and all that stuff and that, because the fact of the matter is, you know, that whole suppression of knowledge, and then also when it comes to, that suppression of knowledge, or not wanting to advance stuff, or not wanting to, or always trying to find glory in, you know, you always want to find glory in not knowing shit. You know what I'm saying? You know those people that say shit like, yeah, well, you don't always have to. People that again, ego. You know what I'm saying? That whole attitude against being against knowledge and being and knowing stuff and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Or being strategic. You know, it's always that whole, nah, man, we don't need these books. Burn these books. How many times in history have you heard about people burning books? You understand what I'm saying? So that shit is wild, man. It's like it's always this whole, oh yeah, I don't have to know this shit. I can just think this shit. I can experience this shit, and then I just, the same shit you see in this fucking space. Something I always revert back to for some reason, that whole lack of again, that lack of appreciation for knowledge, man. Not only knowledge, but just being cultured and organized knowledge. You understand me? And I know it can go off the deep end as well. You know what I'm saying? We've seen how fucked up that is as well. But still, man, it's like that tug of war still exists till today, like this back and forth. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't doubt it that, that happened back then in that Muslim golden era and shit. I mean, I don't know too much about it, to be honest. So I'm just thinking, because it just follows, it follows a pattern. There's always a pattern to this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason, always a woman involved. You know, for some reason, it's like, whether like I was saying, like you would have a whole king, that would literally be ready to give up the throne just over a woman, like just like give up your throne, like a kingdom. You know what I'm saying? It's wild, man. Like, if you think about all the people that have been, of course, like, that have fallen all the way to King Solomon and stuff like that, you know, it's almost like it seems like that's just a weakness, bro. That is a man's inherent weakness. A a a a woman, and somehow that tie they have to a man's ego is crazy. Because if you think about it, it's like, my status is seen by the woman on my side. And if I have one and I have two, three, four, you know what I'm saying? That whole polygamy stuff, you could be sure all that culture stuff, man, when you see these Muslims, they say, yeah, having many wives is part of culture. That shit probably started from some ego shit. On some, yo, man, I gotta have two bitches. I can't just have one. And then the rest is history. You know? It's wild, man. You will see whole dukes from England or whatever, or Bavaria. You know what I'm saying? Kings from Germany and stuff back in the 1700s or 1600s or even 1800s. You know, they'll just promote these bitches that they don't know nothing. They're just pretty. You know what I'm saying? And just be seen after a while, they just be seen with them in public. Yeah, that's me and my mistress. Mistress. You know what I'm saying? Furnish apartments, buy them their own houses in a cottage somewhere, you know, those olden days and shit. You know? It's crazy. And make them courtesans. And all of a sudden, all of a sudden, you become an advisor to the king. You understand what I'm saying? So that shit just, it's wild, man. And it seems like it's gonna be something niggas won't be able to escape, bro. Mankind, it's within us, man. It's sad. It's sad for real, you know. But I guess that's why, you learn. That's why you learn different things so you can, it kind of humbles you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It touches on what I was talking about in my last live, where I was saying that, motherfuckers shouldn't become some fucking, armchair motherfuckers, Nuance is important, you know, because certain shit will humble you. You feel me? But niggas don't want to be humbled, man. They want to keep riding on that fucking wave, yo. Like it's just something electrifying about being that nigga, and that goes for everybody, all cultures, being that nigga and just wanting to keep that shit going. You feel me? I'm that nigga. I'm that nigga. I'm that bro. You know, that's the thing. And you see, that is why your boy Smooth is such a fan of shinobis and these shadow assassins and shit, motherfuckers that are always, it's like your shadow is always there to get you straight, to get you right if shit is off balance. However, you know how that goes. The scale can always tip either way, you know? But that's why they was always there, you know what I'm saying? Because like if a motherfucker getting too power hungry, you become a crash out, you know. You start to make it, you start making it look, you're making your allies look bad, So anyway, nah, man, it's crazy how that shit just goes unchecked, man. How how far that ego shit goes, you know. It's wild. And I'm sure most of you know about this already. It's not like I'm saying anything new. I'm just shooting this shit for real, but it's just something that's just been bothering my mind, It's like, damn, yo, like, is motherfucker ever gonna be able to escape the feminine principle? And it's not like you want to escape, but it's just that weak spot, that blind spot, man. It's like, how many years of fucking examples do we have? One after the other, I conquer land. I am the strongest. I kill everybody. I conquer land. I conquer bitch. Done. You know? Shit is wild, man. I mean, this is what we came from, right? And we still not we came from, we still like that. It's wild, man. It's wild. But yeah, you know, that's like kind of what I wanted to, you know, get off my chest a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Just having a smooth Friday night, morning, Thursday night, sorry. I call it Thievery Thursday. Oh, yeah, the thievery part. The reason why I even called it thievery is because earlier on, there was a motherfucker that rolled up at around 8 o'clock, and they was trying to say, oh, yeah, I was just here to check um on the bathtub in the living room and stuff. Knowing, and everybody here knows that nothing like that like there's no way, there's no bathtub in no living room. Like who sent you? Like, first of all, it's already dark, it's 8 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? You come in here in those scooters and shit. You know what I'm saying? Is pulling up talking about you from the security company trying to, whoa, my nigga. The fuck is that supposed to be about? And how come the management, because the management that manage this property and stuff, they even came through early today, and nobody mentioned about anything. Oh, if the people from this home security company come through, let us. Nobody said nothing. Dude said it was a door-to-door salesman. I'm like, you door-to-door selling at 8 o'clock after work hours? You know what I'm saying? And he said it's just, and then you looked at this one and say it's just 8 o'clock. Well, I didn't say you checked after 8 o'clock. I said you here after work hours. And then he said, oh, well, it's just 8 o'clock. I say, yeah, that's kind of like 2 to 3 hours past regular business hour. Well, what are you doing here, my man? And one of the other people that live here was out there with me too, because we was just talking about some shit, smoking the blunt and shit. So yeah, it was kind of weird. So, and it was a Thursday. So I was like, yo, that shit is wild. After a while, I stopped talking. The other dude, that live here in the main house, he was still like, he was even starting to get tense. Because dude is like ex-military and shit. So he's like, listen, man, I'm ex-military, and you just don't walk up here talking about something nobody told you. You know what I'm saying? That type shit, yo. So I just say, yo, if you're supposed to have an appointment here and all that shit, motherfuckers will let us know. So please, just leave. And yeah, just leave. And if your company has anything to do here with the security system, they will inform the host, and the host will inform the tenants. That's how it works. You understand me? That's how it works when the bug people come. And don't nobody just pull up here. No van, nothing. You just pulling up in the scooter, yo. I don't even see the name of that damn security company on your damn shit. Nigga, beat it. So yeah. It was that type of situation. So I said Thievery Thursday because can't be trusting motherfuckers around the holidays, if you know what I'm saying. That's a fact. So yeah. But anyway, thanks for all of you that just hung out with me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just getting some shit off my mind and stuff, talking about this whole, there's this ego tripping shit, man. And you know what? I think I've had a stream called Ego Tripping before. But yeah, thank y'all for being here. Cynical, of course. You always say I appreciate you, Bronze Bird Zero. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Anyway, I might be back tomorrow, this weekend. I don't know. Whenever I feel like getting some shit off my chest, I'll be back. All right. Take care. Have a great night. Peace.